Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are looking at The Diamond Palace by T.M. Kirk. Our main character is Rain, but her actual name is Raynella, but she doesn't really know that, I don't think. She never says that she's known her name was Raynella, but so Rain grows up in an orphanage in New Jersey, and she is in the orphanage until she's put into the foster program, and then she bounces around from one foster home to the other to the next until she ages out of that program and she becomes an adult. And now we enter the story when she's 25 and working at the taco hut, and she's living in an apartment with her best friend Jenny, who is like a sister to her, so much that she calls her a sister. And while she's on her way to work one day, some guy stops her and tells her, "Hey, you need to come with me. You're not who you think you are." And she's like, "Whatever." And against her better judgment, she follows him, and they go to a cemetery, and in the cemetery there is a portal that takes her into the world she originally came from. And the very first chapter is actually the prologue of it showing how she got into our world in the first place. But he takes her back to I kind of started calling the place Rivendell, because that's not what it is though. Rivella. It's not a normal name, obviously, but it's not so far off that I should be mispronouncing it. But I got so swept up in the story that I was doing that thing, and I don't know if some of you might not understand this, but I was doing that thing where you start reading the story and you read so fast you realize you skipped something, so you have to go back up and reread it to make sure you caught it. But it was like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And yeah, I got swept away in the story very easily. So the names that didn't feel like they were important to me, like the world where she's living in Rivella, I was just like, yeah, cool, Rivendell, sure. And going on, and I focused more on the names of the characters rather than the place names. But the place names do have importance, because she's in Rivella, and then there's two other cities, and one city is closer to the castle, and because the castles, there are magical sources. There's sources of magic, and everybody in these areas have magic abilities, but if they're not close enough to the source of magic, then they don't develop their powers. So, for instance, the people in Rivella, they all are affluent because they're closer to the source where the Diamond Palace is, and they can develop their powers better. People in a nearby city, they're not as close as the Rivellans, so they can still get access to the source, so they might develop their healing power, like a little 1 or 2 powers. And then you've got the people on the outskirts who are a little further away, and because they're further away, they don't develop their powers as strongly. So even just all of the Rivellans have healing magic, but the Rivellans in this other city, Qwordy, I think it is called, don't have the access to have as close access to the source. So healing is very rudimentary. They have to resort to very earth-like measures of healing, of bandages and whatnot. They can't just use their healing magic to heal up a wound. So in Revella, the people who get hurt, like if they get a paper cut, they can heal it instantly, whereas somebody in Ave Obscura is going to probably have to put a band-aid on and hope that it doesn't get infected. And everybody there is struggling. And then there's also these Crucia, which they start off looking like large butterflies, and then when they bond to a human, everybody, well, not human because they're not human, but and they make a point of saying they're not human, but these Revellans, when they develop their magic, they will end up, if they can get near a Crucia, most of them on the outskirts have to find a wild Crucia. But they find a wild Crucia, and if they spend enough time with that Crucia, the Crucia will bond with the magic inside of them and turn into a different type of creature. It wraps itself up into a cocoon, like a butterfly would do before becoming a butterfly, but then they emerge as a tiny creature that it grows with their power. So the more powerful they are, the bigger the animal gets. And so like Day, the guy that came and got Rain and brought her back to her world, his Crucia is a hawk-like creature who has 4 legs and 4 wings. And Rain spends most of the time, a lot of her time, in the Savarium with where there's a bunch of Crucia, and there's 2, Jenny and Opal. Jenny is a red Crucia and Opal is a white Crucia, and they come to her and they are really attracted to her potential magic, and she spends a lot of time with them to try and get one of them to bond with her and to be her bonded Crucia. And one of them does. I won't say which one, and I won't say what it turns into, but it is, it's a really cool one. And it's funny because Rain struggles a lot with anxiety and succumbs to panic attacks. And she talks about her childhood trauma and her past traumatic experiences and her anxiety and her panic attacks. And at one point, when Day is telling her how the Crucia work, that when they bond with her, the animal they turn into, the creature they turn into, is something that is reflective of the person that they're bonded to. And this kind of freaks Rain out, and she's like, I don't know if I want to do that to a Crucia. I don't know what kind of distorted, freakish, messed up thing it'll turn into when it can just go and be bonded to somebody else who is a little bit more put together. I do like that Rain is not this perfect chosen one, because there is a chosen one trope. The reason she was taken away is because there is a prophecy about how she is supposed to save the world, their world, and her mother didn't want her succumbing to that prophecy and whisked her away to the other world and died in her attempt to get her to safety, and that's why she was in an orphanage. But so you do have the chosen one trope, and she is very adamant of, I am not the chosen one, I don't care if I'm the chosen one, I'm going home. Send me back, please. And she is told that it's going to take a month before there's a month long, they can't just open the portal willy-nilly. It has to be certain things have to be in place for them to be able to open the world, so she can't go back for at least a month. And she's just like not happy about that. So in the meantime, she's just trying to figure out how to be in this world, and as she gets to know some of the people, she really starts to fall in love with the people here. Day, she's kind of annoyed with, and I agree, he's kind of annoying. Ram and Cam, the twins, I will say that the twins, they, and it's a normal, it seems to be a very typical thing if you've never been around twins yourself, then they're going to come off as Weasley twin-esque, like from Harry Potter. But I can tell you that the way Ram and Cam act as twin brothers is very... it's not so much that they are like Fred and George Weasley. It's more that Fred and George Weasley are like typical twin brothers. As someone who grew up with twin brothers, I can tell you that I saw a lot of my own brothers in Fred and George. I see a lot of them in Ram and Cam, especially Ram and Cam. Joey, my younger brother, Joey and Josh were my twin brothers, and Josh was definitely a Ram kind of person, and Joey was definitely a Cam kind of person. Joey was kind of, he would be boastful, but for the most part, he was very quiet, especially when he was with Josh. Josh would be the one that would be, he's the charismatic one. He's the star of the show. And Joey just kind of sat back and was just like, yeah, okay. When they were apart, Joey was a little bit more talkative because there wasn't somebody else there with him, but he was still introspective because he had a lot of trust issues, and Josh is just a very outgoing person. And like most twins you find in stories, they are a little bit more, they're fun-loving, they're friendly, they like to play jokes on each other, on other people. So I liked that about Ram and Cam, that despite being twins and being identical, they were their own person. They had their own qualifiers and whatnot. Even with their magic, they have two different types of magic. One has fire magic and the other one has air magic. Again, two very different things, people, and even with them, I would say that Ram is definitely, of these characters, Ram and Sin were my favorite characters. I like Ram a little bit more than Sin, just because Sin is very cynical, but I liked Sin because he, not only does he have a serious side, he's very serious, he's very closed off, and he's, as Rain keeps calling him, he's a butthole. And, but he has a great sense of humor, especially when you get to know him. As you get to know him, he will just pick on you in a very friendly big brother type way. Then there's Jo. She's about the same age as Rain, and the two of them become fast friends. And then, of course, the Crusher. This does end on a cliffhanger, but it's a satisfying cliffhanger. It's one of those cliffhangers where things come to an end and she starts on a journey to leave the castle. And it makes sense that this is where the story would end because, okay, it's the Diamond Palace. Everything has happened around the Diamond Palace. Now she's heading to the Golden Palace. So you wouldn't necessarily, especially with the series, you wouldn't necessarily put the Golden Palace stuff in the Diamond Palace. So it makes sense to end it there. And like I said, it's a satisfying cliffhanger. You close the book and you're like, yes, that is not how I would have ended it, but I'm okay with the fact that the author did end it that way, and I'm ready to see what happens in the next book, and you don't feel cheated. The two characters I had the biggest problem with, the dad and the grandfather. I was like, the grandfather needs to take his medicine and just chill out for a bit, I think. He's a trip. He really is. And I'm a little bit annoyed that Rain, I'm kind of hoping the next book deals with some of the other issues that Rain has to deal with, because she starts off, most of this book, she's dealing with her anxiety and her panic attacks, but she also has a lot of anger issues that she really needs to get under control. And I'm kind of hoping that in the Golden Palace that's something that gets addressed, that she's able to handle her anger issues a little bit better, because it would have really helped her not make some of the choices or decisions or mistakes that she made. And then her dad, and it's like, I get that you're king, I get that you have a lot on your shoulder, and I get that you're not as strong as you want people to think you are, but maybe try to be stronger for your daughter, is all I would have wanted from him, to be a little bit more open and vulnerable with her. He really didn't have a choice in that matter, but I feel like being so close to the source, he should have been able to kind of develop a little bit more of his mental prowess to be able to work around that. Rain, if she had been able to keep a hold of her anger, I would have been interested to hear more of what grandfather had to say about different things. Like, okay, wait. You say you have some designs. Let's talk about that. Let's, I think that if Rain could settle down enough to talk to her grandfather, because she is a very strong person, and that's one of the other things I love about it, is that she has this anxiety, she has panic attacks, she has anger issues, but that doesn't make her a weak person. She is one of the strongest people in the story, despite all of that, or maybe because of all of that, because she's been through so much and survived so much, and it's just layer after layer of toughening her up. And I hate that that's what has to happen to toughen her up, but it is. And the other problem I have is with Sin. It's like, dude, you are one with your element. You are the strongest with your element. We didn't see anything. We didn't hear anything. So I feel like Sin is so good at his deceptions. He is good at hiding things and keeping secrets and not being fully open, and he is really good at making people believe what he wants them to believe. And I can't for the life of me think that believe that he's as weak as he portrayed himself to be. But I can also see him he's really used to people underestimating him, and he does that by design. That is by design. He wants people to underestimate him. He wants to fly under the radar, and that's where he does his best work, is when nobody's paying attention to him. And he always has a tendency of putting himself in a position to where he's forgotten or dismissed until it's too late, and by the time that someone realizes, hey, I should have actually been paying attention closer to this guy, then by that time it's too late, because he's already come back and shown you why you should have paid attention to him. So I believe that the way he leaves the scene is just one of his ploys, and I was just like, at first I was like upset, and I was like, how is it even possible that he would do that? And then it's like, okay, well, wait, it's Sin. Is this one of his ploys? Is this one of his distraction things? And he spent enough time in the real world, in Rain's Earth world, that he would definitely have some understanding of sleight of hand magic, of, hey, I'm going to have you look over here, but the important thing is I'm going to be doing over here. So I could definitely see that. Now, if anybody is doing the HRCYED, I can tell you that this satisfies a lot of HRCYED challenges. It is 411 pages long, so it fits with the by the numbers prompt for HRCYED 2. For the 400 to 499 it satisfies the LGBT rainbow because Rain, it turns out, is actually bisexual. The disability rep, anxiety, around the world. She's in Jersey, so it takes place in North America. It starts off in North America. Subgenres: if your main genre is fantasy, then this could the subgenre could be romance. If romance is your genre, then your subgenre could be fantasy. It's a duology for now. It's probably going to be more, but at least for this year, it is a duology. There's this one, and there is the Golden Palace, so it's a duology at the moment. It will most likely fit into any of the a lot of TBR games. It was published this year. The animals, so the last 10 years, Satisfier, animals are better. The Crescia are wild animals in this world. For the bigger rainbow, it's black cover. Spooky Creatures Challenge. You could use the Crescia as other magic creature, or you could use the people as being magic users. And it was self-published, so it will satisfy if you want to change one of the prompts in HRCYED, which was created by Qwordy. Oh gosh, what is her name? I know her name. Anyway, but yeah, Qwordy created the HRCYED challenge, and a lot of people have signed up for it, and it's like all over the YouTubes, and especially in the BookTuber universe. So this would satisfy a lot of her challenges that she set forth, and one of the challenges that she has is if you want to trade out one of the prompts, then you can do that, but you have to read 5 self-published books, and this would count as a self-published book. So if you want to see more of the HRCYED, which stands for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do, you can go to Qwordy's website. I will link that in the description below. I will also link the Diamond Palace and the Golden Palace in the description box below, along with where you can buy one of my books. But I really enjoyed this. This is, I love that on the Amazon.com, where T.M. Kirk has this published, she puts in the biography that it is a high spice romance, so it is not recommended for anyone who is under 18. So yeah, definitely high spice. And if you like high spice, great. If you don't like high spice, either avoid the book or just skip through the chapters. I myself am not a high spice person, but I still enjoyed the book. So I just skipped the points where they were getting busy, you know. But I really enjoyed the book, and I will most likely end up getting the second book. So that's where I am with that. I don't avoid spice just because of spice alone. It's, like I said, it doesn't bother me to just skip past those points, because a good story is a good story regardless. So anyway, definitely go get this book if you're interested in fantasy and romance and Chosen One tropes and enemies to lovers tropes. Like I said, I enjoyed it. The one thing I did is I liked it so much, and I went on to the different reviews to see what everybody else thought of it, and everybody is like, oh, I love Day, and I was like, why? He's just, I am definitely, like, I don't like, I like Day, he's fine, but he's definitely not Rain's type, is the way I feel about it. So, Other than that, that's all I've got for you guys today, so I will see you on Wednesday when we check out another book. Alright? Bye!